Next up, Russ and I review Repo Man in 4K from Criterion.
We've got nothing better to do than watch some movies and give you guys reviews.
Dildos!
Welcome back to 4K Kings. My name is Matt.
I am Russ.
And welcome to your home of physical media, movie reviews, and Repo Man.
Repo Man on 4K from Criterion. We have Repo Man on Blu-ray from Criterion. We have Repo Man on Blu-ray from Umbrella.
So today we're here to review Repo Man.
Matt, did you watch all three of these editions?
I did not.
Then you are not qualified to give this review.
Because you haven't earned the rights yet!
And if you haven't noticed already, our channel is soaring fast. We're almost at 10K, and you are responsible for getting us there. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. The day we hit 10K subscribers, Harry Dean Stanton will get back on his meds.
Eventually, the Earth's not going to be here, and at one time it wasn't here. Don't you get it?
Today, Russ, we're back with another movie review, this time Repo Man. We're doing this review in honor of the recent 4K release that came out from Criterion.
The only noticeable difference beyond picture quality upgrade is the packaging. The 4K, a little thicker.
It is a little thicker. Why?
There's got to be some reason for me to spend $40 to buy the same movie again, Matt.
Fuck you.
First, we want to dive into the film itself and give it a nice review, really pour over our thoughts.
I think this will be an interesting review because it's coming from two different perspectives. I saw this for the first time as a teenager, so I've had many years of experience with this movie. And Matt, you have just seen it for the first time.
Incorrect.
Shit.
I saw this movie about 15 years ago for the first time, but I don't remember any of it, which I'll explain why later at a very pivotal moment. But I did just watch it again a few days ago so that I would be ripe and fresh for this review. 1984 film directed by Alex Cox. It was his debut feature. That's pretty awesome.
And it's his best.
Well, yeah, I was going to say we'd jump into his filmography a little bit later, but when I watched this movie, and, you know, for anyone who hasn't seen this before, or anyone who has, it's a pretty interesting, wild, you know, fun ride. And to think that someone who was just like an amateur basically just slapped this together, it's pretty cool that this is the outcome.
The plot of this movie probably holds the record for the longest reach of 1984. It reaches all the way from a team of men who repossess cars to aliens from outer space.
On paper, if you tell somebody, hey, this is a punk rock, sci-fi comedy, that sounds like it shouldn't work at all in any way, shape, or form. But not only does it work, I'd say he nailed it. So much so that, Matt, I would even go further out on a limb and personally say that I think Repo Man is the best punk rock movie.
Tell me about punk rock.
Well, I'll tell you about punk rock. Punk rock is a word used by dilettantes and heartless manipulators. It's a term that's based in fashion, style, elitism, Satanism.
As someone who's a fan of the genre, who grew up on the genre, I think this is the best film equivalent of punk rock.
I definitely felt that energy immediately and throughout from this movie. For people who maybe, again, are clicking on this and have never seen this movie before, it's about a repossession agency or repo men. They get caught up in the pursuit of a Chevy Malibu that might be connected with extraterrestrials.
And even that doesn't sum up anything.
It doesn't.
I mean, that is what the plot, I guess, of the movie is. But this isn't a movie you're watching for plot.
People get so hung up on specifics, they miss out on seeing the whole thing.
Starring Emilio Estevez as Otto, with Harry Dean Stanton, Tracy Walter, and Cy Richardson as Bud and Miller Light. It's very original. It's very daring in a lot of ways. It's absolutely fun and very entertaining. Kept my attention the whole time because of how many gears it shifts and how much of a journey you kind of take with this Repo Man throughout the course of the movie. The one thing that I really, really loved is how many great characters there are in this movie. There's so many great characters. Like when you first start, and it's Emilio Estevez, and you're obviously into him, and then he shows up at the agency, and there's like all these different characters that are there. Normally, they might just be some background dudes that are just kind of like, but each one of these people have their own personality, and they're all really, really cool.
I completely agree with you.
Awesome characters.
Yes, you're right. In most movies, it would be Harry Dean Stanton's character, and everyone else would be background. Cy Richardson damn near steals this movie.
I'll kill anybody who crosses me. You know what I mean?
He's one of those dudes that after you watch it, you're like, why didn't I see him in everything after this?
He was awesome.
He killed it.
That one scene where they're driving and he pulls out that blue tape, he's like, I knew these guys before they were cool. They wanted me to be their manager.
I called bullshit on that.
Emilio Estevez, it was so awesome to see him again. He's kind of like a person who I saw a lot of his movies growing up in the 80s and early 90s, and I haven't seen him in anything in a really long time. And then when I put this on, I was like, it just brought me back to like basically his prime era and like his prime attitude and everything. I was like, damn, I miss this guy.
You know, Repo Man, like I told you before, is the only film I've ever rented.
Like his laugh, his energy, he's just such a fun guy to watch. Like he just seems like he's always having fun.
He has all the connections. He has all the leeway. He can get in any movie he wants. He's Martin Sheen's son, but he chose to do this. He chose to do this in 1984. He didn't have to.
And this is basically his first leading role.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is the fact that he chose it, he was going outside of the box. He was trying to establish himself. He was taking the craft seriously rather than just relying on, my dad.
Yeah.
And I think he chose a wise movie, and I think he did a great job. For someone who, like you, I grew up watching Men at Work and Breakfast Club. By the time I saw Repo Man, my image of Emilio Estevez was basically Brat Pack. So I was skeptical. I'm like, wait, this dude's going to do punk rock? And, he won me over in about the first 5 minutes.
Fuck you.
And it also stars the legendary character actor Harry Dean Stanton as the veteran repo man who explains the ropes to him.
Harry Dean Stanton was also really good, and it's kind of funny to know, like, he was kind of a disaster behind the scenes. It makes me always think, like, how do we end up with this great product when really they were just at each other, like, in between takes? And
when you learn about that as well, it makes more sense watching the performance. I wonder how much of this was actual performing versus, hey, I really don't like you, director.
I want to punch his fucking lights out.
Charisma, man. He does. He's a wolf. He has that presence. He's Harry Dean Stanton.
Lastly, give a shout out to my boy Tracy Walter, who I forgot was in this movie.
That is your boy.
I love that guy, and he's like the weird sort of existential like glue that sort of holds this movie together in a way.
When you see the ending and you take into account his character, it's almost like he's the normal.
Yeah, right.
This entire
he's understood.
Yes,
they're pointing at consumerism.
That's a very punk rock attribute, is to go against
everything.
Consumerism. Let's make it generic as hell.
Which was a big
point out how stupid this is. Beer, dog food.
And I feel like the attitude of this movie, not only is the attitude punk rock, the making of it was punk rock, like everything about it, the music, like every angle, and it comes across like with, I keep saying the word energy, but to me that's what punk rock has. There's energy to it, like there's an attitude to it, there's an anger to it at times, like there's just this rebellion to it, and that's what this whole movie just feels like. It's rebelling against me watching it.
It is, and let me tell you that is very hard to convert into film format. There are so many movies that do punk rock or involve punk rock that make it look cheesy and stupid and ridiculous. You're right, that attitude, the anti-consumerism, all this stuff is there, but you know what? It's fun. That's where punk rock doesn't translate well in movies. It comes across as like, this guy's just a dickhead.
Fuck you.
Even the ones that are dickheads, they're coming across as parodying the nihilism of punk rock, like the three friends that keep popping up and like robbing the store and all that. They're jokers. They're like the cliche. Everything in it, it's like they nailed it so well without being negative towards it or towards anyone else.
John Wayne was a
What did you say, Melissa?
I guess the other element of everything that we're saying is the music too. I mean, you can't have all this stuff if the music doesn't match all this energy. And the Iggy Pop stuff is so good. The theme of the movie, I think, is his.
Iggy Pop, to your what you mentioned, that song that you like so much, he did it for free.
Alex personally came to my extremely humble apartment. He explained to me about the film he was making. He said, "I want you to do a song for me. Do what you want."
He was kind of in a little bit of a career downturn at the time, wasn't he?
Never. He's Iggy Pop. No such thing as a career downturn.
At the time, I'd had a hiccup in my career. I was sort of on the ropes due to my wild lifestyle.
When I met Alex Cox and talked to him, he said that not only did Iggy Pop do it for free, but he said he's just like one of the sweetest guys he's ever met. Every year on his birthday, Iggy Pop calls him and wishes him happy birthday. That's just how good of a guy Iggy Pop is. He'll give you a song for free and then wish you happy birthday for the rest of your life.
Do you understand what I'm saying, sir?
I'm trying. You don't have to call me sir.
No, I don't have to. I forgot your name.
But then there's all the other hardcore punk rock Suicidal Tendencies song.
Oh, Institutionalized.
Yeah. That song's badass, and I heard that
Dude,
at the party.
That album is badass. The first Suicidal Tendencies record, beginning to end, dude, it's classic.
When they're walking down the street or whatever, and you hear Pablo Picasso was never called an asshole, I audibly laughed. It's just a funny line.
Pablo Picasso was never called an asshole.
The reason why I don't remember this movie is because the first time I watched it, I had just gotten a surgery and they had given me Vicodin for my pain, and I'd never had Vicodin before in my life. So I'm watching Repo Man, and like probably halfway through, I start to feel a little strange, but it isn't till about 15 minutes until the end that shit just starts to really get weird. You know, the finale, and it's a little bizarre. I felt like I didn't know what I was watching. I felt like I was flying in the air, and you wouldn't expect that ending, which is a cool thing to say about this movie. You don't expect a lot of things that go on, and I wasn't expecting the way that the ending goes, and in the moment where I was high as shit off of Vicodin, it was just winging me out.
Wow, that was intense.
Are you aware of the TV version? It was like a special cut that I think Alex Cox had to make for television, but apparently it's like hilarious the way that he did it.
Universal got in touch with me and they hated me. I came in and re-edited Repo Man so that it could play on television.
Make it a flippin' month.
Yeah, we'll flip you!
Flip you.
There's just some way to find out how much the melon farmers owe and making them pay.
I don't know who it was that came up with melon farmers.
It's on the Criterion Release.
No, I never watched that.
It's on there. Alex Cox, Russ, went on to have a very long film career, but like you said, it maybe didn't turn out so great. He did follow up with Sid and Nancy. He was credited as the original writer for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I did not know.
I asked him about that. He did a draft. He basically said everything in that film is nothing he did.
He also later directed Rebecca De Mornay in The Winner.
As a man who has a pretty big Rebecca De Mornay crush, that's probably the movie I think she looks the best in.
And Alex Cox also made a sequel to this movie in 2009. Saw that? Repo Chick?
You guys are Repo Men. Man, I saw a movie about you.
Repo
Was
Chick.
that a film or was that like a web series? Click on it, because if that's not a film, you look foolish.
2009 American film. There's the DVD of it right there.
Son of a bitch.
Who looks foolish now? It's the second of Cox's micro features produced for a very low budget and given very little theatrical distribution. It was released in DVD in 2011. So who's laughing now?
Shut up.
So the physical media release, now that we've gushed about this film that we both seem to really like. You hold the thick one, I'll hold the thin one.
Yeah.
The thing I love just right off the bat is they nailed this packaging. This packaging is so great. It's one of their digipack style deals, but just like what the art is, this Tyler Stout art on the inside is really awesome. It's great. There's a nice thick booklet in here, which Criterion, I don't know if I've ever seen them do a thick book before. It's usually like a little just insert. This is a booklet. They basically give you the same thing for the 4K, but why is it thicker?
4K and the Blu-ray. That makes sense.
Double disc.
What kind of 4K kings are we? We should have had that answer off the cuff, man.
All that'll be edited out.
I love this artwork.
It's one of my favorite art they've ever done.
It really is, dude. For newly commissioned artwork for a film that's beloved, I'm usually ultra critical on. I love what I even considered getting this tattooed.
Yeah, it's terrific.
So how about the transfer, Russ? Let the people know.
Fantastic. As someone who grew up watching this on a VHS tube television, holy shit. The neons, the sunny LA look. When you have a film that has such energy as Repo Man has, and now the visuals pop and the audio pops, it's firing on a whole new level now.
Yeah, and outside of your experience, just a lot of the reviews I was reading too just really go on to talk about how refreshed the movie looked, the different, effects that we were kind of mentioning, some of the glowing and things of that nature. Like nothing's blown out, everything is really blended really nicely, detail is crisp. And
it did it all without removing its personality. It still feels very much 1984.
I never owned this, but now I will certainly be picking up that 4K come the Criterion sale in November. It'll absolutely be a pickup of mine. 100% great job. The film's a blast. Great raw energy, great ideas, great talent. Director's first film. It's incredible that it turned out as well as it did and was a hit as huge as it was.
And you got to meet Russ.
It's a must pick up if you haven't picked it up already. And if you liked what you saw here, if you agree with us, give us a thumbs up. Drop a comment below. Did you watch this? Did you pick this up? Do you have both? Are you a repo man?
Is John Wayne a heterosexual?
I installed two-way mirrors in his pad in Brentwood. And he come to the door in a dress.
Thank you for watching this review. Go back, check out some of our other reviews. Come hang out with us on a live stream. We live stream every other Wednesday. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Dildos!